in a small shed. And our roots were primarily into safety, and then since then our sense portfolio has grown, and we have over 40,000 products. So the kind of product we have is helping customers in the areas of identification, detection, measuring devices, LiDAR products, safety devices. You guys may be very, very familiar with that. But also the latest baby in our offering is our integration and controlling portfolio. We primarily focus on three major verticals: factory automation, logistics, and process automation. For us, factory means anything to do with manufacturing, be it food and beverage manufacturing, metal manufacturing, heavy machinery, automotive. All that would fall into the factory automation. Logistic automation would be both transport logistics. These are the airlines, roadways, ports, as well as the freight forwarding logistics. Process automation includes oil and gas sectors and mining, anything below the ground. Okay, the agenda for today, I am going to speak on behalf of Jean-Michel, primarily around the industry trends. Then we will go into the use cases. We'll talk about some solutions. While we talk about the solutions, I may actually be able the demonstration and visibility of the new products that we have, followed by some success stories, primarily the success stories that we have picked in this market in Australia and New Zealand, followed by a question and answer session. Okay, what are the industry trends? Our team has been carefully looking at the industry for well over 5 years before the pandemic, and looking at the projection in terms of where the market and the industry is heading towards. What we do know, this is a recent study that we would like to quote from Microsoft, is the first of the trend is around the product priorities. Okay, so it's most of the respondents in this study tell us that it's not important just to find the right product on the shelf, but also keep the variety. So it is very important. Our customers are saying us that having the right product on the shelf followed by the variety of product is important. Then we also know companies using data are overpowering the competitors by more than 20%, and we have seen time and again those who are not embracing technology seem to fall behind. And this is where we would like to help our customers to see how they can utilize the technology in their planning. What we also know is fast and responsive communication is a must, especially around the status of product around inventory online. And we have seen that. And we have seen that. We have seen that time and again. Our customer says that providing us the inventory online is critical. With that slide, I think we have Jean-Michel back online. Jean-Michel, you back?
Yes, I am back.
Okay, do you want to take it from this slide, Jean-Michel? I just started off. Thank you.
Sure. No problems. Thanks, Praveen. Sorry, gents, just computer issues. Okay, so with the slides, we're here to share a little bit of the trends. In particular, some of this data is coming from the retail playbook. Praveen, could you please put the presentation back on?
You should see the screen.
No, at the moment I'm seeing you. So. There we go. Yeah, great, thanks. So yeah, so this information's come out of the retail playbook trend. So the first one talks about prioritize the right product availability. So as we can see, based on some recent surveys conducted by consumer, that 34% of global respondents were saying having the right product on stock is the key, whilst 29% of it said variety of products was of importance to them. But it's important to note that as we continue to go on, this is going to become more and more a requirement for the industry, for people to ensure they are able to provide the product or solution to the customer at the time that they need it most. The second pillar talks about data power warehouse, reducing the total cost of ownership. I think to survive in this business or any industry today, with so many competitors competing against your own product, automation is one of the key aspects of that. And in this case, it was shown that 20% of them were saying that the automated warehouse certainly made it more powerful to be able to compete. And that's not necessarily around having automation, meaning that they'd have less staff. It is more to do with ability to shift and adapt to the market situation quickly. The next pillar is about optimizing with fast, responsive communication. So 58% of customers were saying it is important for inventory status to be visible online. I think we can all share that one, yeah? We're all customers in some sense, and we've all shopped online at some point. And knowing that you're buying a product that is shown as in stock or online certainly makes us happy, because it means that we can expect our delivery much quicker. So this is becoming more and more transparent throughout the whole supply chain. Particularly with freight organization, a lot of freight companies are looking at tracking in different ways. Ability to track with also an image, so the customer can actually connect to that experience that they're actually purchasing this product. So, Praveen, if you could go to the next slide, please. Okay. Some of the stats here from the IBM study of 2019, where a couple of points which we sort of highlighted from the document, which one of them was lack of visibility. So 84% of supply chain officers were saying that lack of visibility across the supply chain was one of the biggest challenge. Even though that there's been a significant amount of automation being spent within the supply chain, I think there's still quite a significant lack of visibility within supply chain. And that's not necessarily the fact that we're not adapting to these automation solution. It just means that we haven't really unlocked a lot of this information to ensure that members of organization, from manufacturing partners, warehouse, executive frontline staff, have access to this information, which then enables a more a greater visibility throughout the whole supply chain about product that is moving, product that's not moving, how they can actually restock the shelf quicker. This is all of significant importance, and that's what they mean in terms of lack of visibility. And in the other pillar there, we see that chief supply chain officers are saying that already exceeding difficult predict of proactive manage and disruption and risk. Now, this is not to what we're facing today, yeah? This is more along the lines of the disruption of how consumers are actually buying today. What's their buying experience? What's their buying method, and how they actually really wanting to have a more customized product. And this is hard for a lot of companies to try and adapt to. So that's why automation here is key in order for us to ensure that we can adapt to these different situations and disruptions. Next slide, please. So today we're going to share with you guys with regards to the data from SICK that we, with our sensors and solutions and what we've done in the industry where we're able to support. So the first one is improve inventory accuracy, elimination of paperwork, real-time visibility, which is one of the key, because as we've seen on the previous slide, lack of visibility is an issue. And how can we actually get greater visibility? Track and trace in transit, reduce cycle turnaround time, lower operational time, eliminate parallel and counterfeiting. Next slide. So with this, what is real-time visibility? Well, it's, there's already a lot of automation being adapted out there, but it's pretty much in some ways working in silos, yeah? So what we're looking at here is it is more than just automation to one side. It's about the business systems, the data services, and the sensing network working together in order to provide this real-time visibility. So these three key aspects are extremely important to ensure that we can get that real-time visibility. So leading with that, what we'll do is we'll send a poll out to everyone with the question and a couple of answers. So if you can take a few seconds to give your answers, that'd be great.
Sorry, everyone. It's just the polling function is currently unavailable, so we'll probably skip this section. Jean-Michel, please go on. Thank you.
No worries. So with that, then, I mean, as you can probably all work it out from home, you'll see that all of these answers are correct and important for us to achieve this real-time visibility. So with that, what I'd like to do now is pass back on to Praveen, who will talk a little bit more about the case studies and the trends that we're going through. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jean-Michel. Thank you, Gina. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity and joining the WebEx. I am going to jump back again and talk about the use cases. There are several use cases around the SHIPwithSICK product portfolio, but we're going to touch upon the four key ones that we are seeing momentum in the marketplace. The first one is around the inventory accuracy, and I will explain what that use case and how our customers are taking that shortly. Then the second use case that we're going to focus on is around the shipment verification or verification of items going through your shipping door. And the third use case is primarily focused on factory automation, mainly tracking the work in process during the manufacturing. And finally, the last use case that I will touch upon is around the asset management, both around returnable transport assets, the RTAs, as well as safety around the assets using technology. Okay, the first use case, as I mentioned, I'm going to highlight is the inventory accuracy. So what this use case, as the definition it says, is it's a system that provides a view for daily inventory to a full audit compliance. So the technology that we have got to enable this use case can be either a fully autonomous system with an integrated AGV, automated guided vehicle, and an RFID. The pictorial representation of how that would look like is what you see on the right-hand tile. We also have other options where our customers are using our system to provide this particular use case is using an automated option, not an autonomous option, an automated option using a forklift guided RFID system, or in some of the cases, the customers are using a manually operated cart. So I would say it's a semi-automated system with RFID. A lot of our customers are saying, why are they doing it? I think the feedback from our customers also reflect the study that we have talked about earlier, is providing the inventory accuracy across their warehouses and storage and distribution centers. Where do they see the returns? Where is the value proposition? Yeah. So the value proposition for our customers implementing this solution is primarily to achieve audit compliance, especially customers who are highly regulated in the pharmaceutical industry or customers who have reporting obligations with the Australian Stock Exchange, as an example, do have a requirement to meet audit compliance. And I think this is a great system for them to use it to support that objective. The second value is around minimizing the time and the cost required to perform daily stock take or cycle count, or even a periodic cycle count or a stock take. Whatever the cycle count option is, the system will provide benefits to them. And finally, we're also seeing digitalization as a key trend around Industry 4.0, and this is a low-hanging fruit for customer to implement it to start towards the digitalization journey. I have few reference customer profiles on the right. These are recent customers for us, so we haven't got confirmation from them to use their name. So I'm going to skip the naming the customers, but these are certainly our customers that we work with confidence, and we would certainly be glad to talk about more in a one-on-one conversation. But at least for now, the first profile that I'm going to talk about is a very large stock exchange listed plastic packaging manufacturer with over hundreds of sites in Australia and New Zealand performing this automated stock take. And I will go into this particular customer profile a little later when I talk about the case studies. The second type of customer profile, I think, is going to be very attractive in the retail segment, primarily in the apparel, fashion, and footwear industry. This particular customer is a North American retailer. Most of their items are already tagged at source in a factory, and they are taking the advantages of source tagging by providing the stock take and the inventory function using a fully automated system. This customer has over 50 stores spread across Australia and New Zealand and few distribution centers. The third customer is a packaged goods manufacturer. So they're making packaged goods, retail-ready goods, and they have a need for them to track inventory, primarily to manage their first in, first out, to make sure that the perishable goods are not staying long in the shelf. That is one of the use cases, and on top of the inventory accuracy, they are using this system. We also have another type of customer packaging manufacturer as well. They have about 21 sites across ANZ. They are using the system. On the right-hand side, you see the forklift operated automated stock taking system. Just a couple of points that I would like to mention is the cost of doing this can be significantly low. So we're talking about less than 10 cents an item, or it could be at the pallet level or the carton level or item level to perform the stock take, be it monthly, be it even daily, or even bi-yearly audits. Again, the ROI is pretty straightforward. Most of our customers are able to achieve 3x3. What do we mean by 3x3 is most of the benefits are achieved within the first 3 months of the implementation, which is very significant. Around the reduction in time to perform the stock take, improved level of stock accuracy, as well as meeting the regulatory compliance, primarily from an audit perspective. Okay, so the next use case that I'm going to highlight is around shipment verification. The objective for this particular use case is our customer asking us, I want to make sure that the right product is loaded on the right truck at the right time to the right customer. You know, that is a common question that you would find across any shipping, be it manufacturing or distribution or freight forwarding and so forth. And the key business driver, as you can understand, in the supply chain, one of the most premium real estate is going to be the dock door. And the utilization of the dock door is so vital for companies to manage. And this particular solution, shipment verification at the dock door, provides that option for the customer. So we have a number of options again, like the inventory option. We have a number of options to enable this. This could be on a forklift mounted or forklift operated shipment verification. We have customers using a forklift version of shipment verification where they have readers on the forklift as they pick the item and then load it on the truck. They would know what item and what quantities are being loaded. In addition, we have an overhead mounted option. This is very unique to SICK, using our directional RFID reader. I will show you that reader in a moment. But that's also very, very popular. And there is a traditional side-by-side, which is the overhead mount option is what you see in the tile next, and then the side-by-side is on the far end of the picture. Okay, some of the reference customer profiles. Here we are talking about a very, very large automotive, one of the few automotive manufacturers in Australia, making heavy vehicles, accurately receiving their CPOT from different suppliers, from T1 and T2 suppliers. Then we also have a success story from a large packaging manufacturer supplying into the beverage industry. They are using a forklift option. And finally, we have a fresh produce retailer. They're working with growers, the farmers, cold chain, cold storage, and retail store. They are utilizing our shipment verification solution at the dock door. Again, to implement a system like this, you are talking about less than $8,000. Typical return of investment on these kinds of systems is around 9 to 12 months. Again, around managing manual handling or manual counting of the products through the dock door, or the cost of reconciliation, which could also lead into a customer service issue, which we have seen in most cases. Okay, the third use case, this is going to be very interesting for the manufacturing sector in our factory automation business, is around the work in process tracking. Our objective here is to make sure that every item that's been manufactured, from raw material to the finished goods, is completely tracked, audited with timestamp. That's been our objective. So the technology that we have can be enabled on a hook or a chain or a pulley system of manufacturing, or it could be on an inline verification on a conveyor chain. We have options on both. What are the primary business drivers for our customers is to monitor the dwell time between manufacturing process and, of course, improve it, at the same time not compromising on the quality. So that's been the primary drivers for our customers. The value that we see for our customers is around just improvement in the manufacturing cycle time, as well as improvement in the OEE, the overall equipment efficiencies. We also see a lot of customers using manual paperwork to track from raw materials to finished goods. Just the elimination of the manual paperwork and the time that's needed to record the manual paperwork work. And finally, again, the story is very similar. Customers who try to digitalize their shop floor using Industry 4 technology. Again, this is a good starting point for them. I have a few reference profile customers. We are working with a meat manufacturer. We're trying to help them in tracking the produce going from the raw material or initial station to the finished goods. Along the way, we are capturing hundreds of metadata. I will explain that particular use case shortly as well. We have a metal manufacturer measuring the dwell time in a high temperature manufacturing. So you could see this technology being widely used in a highly wet environment, such as a meat manufacturing, to a very high temperature environment, such as a heavy metal manufacturing. Again, great options for those customers using it. We also have a consumer goods manufacturer trying to track cycle time between raw materials and finished goods. All right, so what do we see from the cost perspective? Again, very attractive for customers, less than 20 cents to track an item versus keeping manual paperwork. It could be up to $1 or $2 to do it. That's what we find from our reference customers. Again, most of the customers are reporting ROI in just the quality of data, product quality, resulting in product quality improvement. Just the time reduction in keeping the manual paperwork and record keeping, and also agility, which is an important trend in manufacturing, is the agility for changing different manufacturing recipes. All right. Finally, the last use case I'm going to talk about is the asset management, and our objective here is to provide complete life cycle management for assets. So here we are talking about assets that could be in-house assets. In-house assets could be a large forklift or a pallet jack or anything that is helping to move their products, or it could be just the returnable transport assets. This could be the pallets, this could be the roll cages, stillages, totes, crates, whatnot. And we also have technology to enable some safety mechanisms with RFID. The drivers for these particular solutions is around improving the efficiency and the safety of physical assets, resulting in a better asset utilization. And the value proposition for our customer includes minimizing the losses of returnable transport assets. Again, a big concern for a lot of customers who are not able to track across different industries. It could be totes, it could be crates, it could be beer kegs, a lot of different returnable transport assets. Another one is around the time and the cost required for asset reconciliation and stock keeping. And finally, improving the supply chain collaboration rather than finger pointing around losses and damage. This technology provides a better solution for customers to manage their supply chain partners. Some reference customer profiles. I have a large metal manufacturer using this technology for blind spot monitoring using RFID on across their forklift. About seven of their automated gated vehicles. Again, quite popular for asset safety and protection. We're working with a large pharmaceutical distributor with over 150,000 returnable assets across 5 distribution centers using this technology. We also have a packaging manufacturer with a number of returnable pallets trying to manage their returnable pool using this technology. On the right-hand side, you will see an option of RFID on the forklift. Again, the cost for doing this and the value proposition for doing this becomes even more compelling, especially for asset management. We're talking about less than 3 cents a trip, or 3 cents to manage a returnable asset through its life cycle. If the life cycle of the asset is 10 years, this is quite attractive, and it pays pretty much in the first or second cycle of the asset itself. Customer reports ROI in the asset cycle time improvements, prevention of losses, accountability for damages, and the overall asset utilization. All right. So where do we see some of these use cases fit in the supply chain network? It's actually across the board, right from manufacturing all the way to retailing. Of course, some use cases such as work in process tracking is more inclined towards manufacturing. We get that. But for example, in inventory control, it is across the board from warehouse to retail. So would be the shipment verification. Most of our customers have receiving and shipping doors, and it's a nice way to automate. Okay, so our the survey is not working, but this was our question that was supposed to be asked. What would be the key use case for organization to look at in their post-pandemic planning? We will send this out after the webinar, so if you guys can able to answer that, we would certainly appreciate that. All right, moving on. What is our, these slides are going to talk about our solution capability and what is our methodology behind developing these solutions. Gina did mention during her introduction what SHIP means. Obviously, there is an obvious meaning, but from our perspective, it is software defined. What do we mean by software defined? We are constantly using machine learning techniques, edge algorithm to make sure that the data that we capture at the edge is at the highest quality. So we're using different techniques to do it. That's why we call it a software defined. High performance, SICK as a brand is known for a very high performance solution, and that has been reflected in the architecture and the solutions that we are defining. Interconnected sensors, again, we are using various purpose-built sensors, be it RFID or LiDAR or photoelectric sensors, or even a camera system to achieve this. We're constantly trying to work with interconnected sensors. Again, one of our key design principles in developing all this is process-driven. We want to make sure that the solutions that we are developing is adapting to different customer needs and processes. Okay, this probably slide is going to be, I'll try to use a pencil to annotate. So I'm going to talk about the physical layer. So here what we are talking about is a solution architecture in general in terms of how we design solution. So generally we have a sensor that attached to a physical asset. This could be an RFID tag attached to an asset. So these sensors are controlled through our rules and configuration engine, which is sent directly to the sensor. At the same time, the sensor generates a lot of events that goes into our event handling. And at the edge, we have a gateway. Some of you might be familiar with our sensor integration machines, which we mentioned briefly at the top, but we also have TDC, telemetric data controller devices, and so forth, acting as a gateway, primarily doing the aggregation. So that's our sensor world. That we would call as the physical world. On the top, we have the data cloud. This is where we are doing a lot of smart. We have health and error handling engine targeting to different users. So this is primarily for the maintenance users. The maintenance users can use the health and the error handling mechanism in our cloud service to make sure that the devices are working the way it is. So then we have a real-time monitor engine. So this is going to be primarily used by the operators to look at what's going on in the shop floor, be it in the shipment verification, checking the expected versus the scan quantity, or the asset or the inventory management, inventory control. What is the expected quantity in the audit cycle, as an example? That's through the real-time monitor. If you guys can see the back end of my screen, I have a real-time monitor here. This is our new sensor integration display. It's quite heavy, as you can see. And I will explain that in a bit. And we also have a reporting platform. The reporting platform is primarily targeted towards the management users to look at trends and reports and so forth. So this is so I just want to take a little bit of time to explain our strategy and design principles. Okay. Okay, so this slide is again explaining a little bit more detail in terms of how our inventory accuracy solution is working. It has a number of different components. We have a scheduling engine. The scheduling engine will allow for headquarters or the risk managers to schedule stock take or audit in their factory. That would be pushed into an operate mechanism where the operator would be able to perform that function. The operator also has a capability to monitor, which we just talked about earlier, and then finally it is analyzed. So you could see how our design principle and the solution architecture are put together, for example, in a use case for inventory accuracy. Again, very similar approach with respect to shipment verification. There's a simple four-step process that we prescribe. Identify the type of shipment that you want to track at the dock door, be it at the pallet level or the carton level or the item level. Tag those items. Use one of the three options that we mentioned to read it. We have the monitoring capability to check against the purchase order and the shipped quantity for the operator, and finally you could analyze the throughput in terms of the dock performance for higher level managers to look at. Again, a very simple four-step process that we described earlier. All right, so working process tracking. I think this is, as I mentioned, this fits very well with our Industry 4.0 offering. It provides us with both speed and automation and accuracy at the same time. We are enabling RFID, or we also can work on other identification technologies such as Bluetooth or Zigbee or ultra-wideband to enable a digital twin. So what is digital twin for us is providing a digital representation of a physical process, asset, or an item digitally. I think one of these technologies provide a great way for us to enable that. The second step in the work in process tracking is around the flexible manufacturing. This is where customers are looking to change recipes all the time, using the same manufacturing line to make a number of different products. So we have seen over the last 18 months or even 2 years, I would say, especially in the food industry, the number of products have grown over 50%. So that means our manufacturing lines are not grown 50%. What that means is customers are changing recipes in the line constantly, and that allows for flexible manufacturing. And I think using our tracking technology, we could recalibrate your manufacturing line to different recipes. And finally, the resource optimization. As you could see, the RFID guided vehicle. Before the RFID guided vehicle, the AGV follows a fixed path, and most of the time it may be expensive around not using the right route. So you're losing on energy, time, and resources. While you're applying one of the automation technology, we could optimize the route, so we are reducing the time, thereby improving the cycle time on these assets. Okay, finally, the asset management function. The architecture is very similar, but we do have a reporting engine. I will take a break and show you the platform shortly. Is providing both a global view of what the assets are, but also as a warehouse operator, you could go into each of the warehouses and look at the different view. Okay, I'll keep going with respect to the success stories. I did mention we have a very strong customer who's using our inventory accuracy solution. This is a large packaging goods manufacturer. They are auditing around 250,000 pallets every quarter across 10 of their warehouses in Australia and New Zealand. And their stock accuracy is phenomenally improved, 99.5% plus across all locations. Very, very powerful. This particular customer is using an automated forklift-based option, which has an ability to scan pallet spaces of 8 meters deep. So you're looking at quite a significant coverage with respect to this system, and can also go 10 meter high. So you're talking about at one point in time around 80 pallet spaces to be scanned and reported. Previously, the stock taking would be very cumbersome. It would take more than 8 people across a weekend to perform a manual stock take, and generally not that accurate. While this particular system, they were able to perform the complete stock take in the warehouse with just one forklift operating for 30 minutes. Again, I have a data flow in terms of how this is going to work. We will provide the presentation so you guys can refer how this particular data flow works. I'll keep going. This is another success story for shipment verification solution, an automotive OEM, heavy vehicle manufacturer. They are receiving C-parts from their tier 2 supplier. You're talking about 2 truckloads every day. 2,500 totes are all tagged and counted. You could understand how long it would take if you have to manually count and verify the 2,500 totes they are receiving. Very, very high level of read accuracy, 99.9%. Of course, we couldn't quote 100%, but very close to 100%. The system is, the beauty of this particular solution is the system is not only able to count the items going through the dock door, but they're also able to provide direction. So whether it's the same dock door is going to be used for shipping and receiving, yes, you could use it, no problem. But also they can filter out any stray product movements across the adjacent dock doors, which has been a challenge for RFID. And this is where we use our intelligence at the edge to provide that filtering. So this one is a large food manufacturer for work in process tracking. They have a lot of reading points in a 1 kilometer long production line. The production line is fairly long, and they have a number of different reading points. So they are processing about 12,000 items are produced a day, every day. During each stage of the production process, we are not just tracking the movement of the product in each of the production process, but also adding a lot of metadata. These metadata could be in a food processing grade type information. It could be temperature. It could be who the operator is working on that. All that metadata is also being added to the product as it moves. Another beauty of this solution is that it seamlessly works in a sequential or parallel manufacturing line. So if you have a manufacturing line that can divide into 3 or 4 and then comes back again to the main line, we could track all that seamlessly. So that's a beauty of the solution. So irrespective of how your manufacturing lines is configured, the solution can be easily customized. Last one is a use case for an asset management, the success story. We're still working with this particular customer. They have their pharmaceutical distributor with over 150,000 totes in general circulation. They have 5 truckloads of empty totes receiving into their warehouse every day, so 120 totes on a pallet. Again, it's a cumbersome process if you have to do a manual reconciliation, and we are using our asset management solution to monitor the totes cycle time, making sure that their losses are mitigated. They are even looking at automating the billing to the customer using this solution. Okay, again, our survey is not working, but we would send you these questions at the end of the webinar. So if you could answer one of these, it would certainly help us. So with this, we will take some questions, and then I might take some time to set up the demo. Is that okay, Sheila? Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen. So we'll go ahead and then take some time for questions now. Just a reminder, please be sure to type your questions into the chat box in your control panel, so one of our team members can pick it up and address it to the presenter. Now we have a couple of questions coming in. There's one question for Jean-Michel on the industry trend. So what are the main impacts to your customer under the current pandemic situation, and with social distancing measurements taking place in most of business operations? What are the automation technologies you predict to boom in the next year or two? That's for Jean-Michel, please.
Thanks, Gina. Look, I'll probably answer that in 2 parts. Yeah, I think in the current pandemic that we're facing, I think it's fair to say that none of us could have actually predicted something as bad as this. Yeah, so I think it would be unfair to try and look at the technology and how the technology would actually assist in these current situations. However, having said that, given that we're faced with a lot of the social distancing rule, if I was to put my engineering hat on, I would see the automation trend really assist is certainly within automation within the factory sector. Yeah. With the current situation we're facing, there's quite a lot of demand on product, particularly around consumer goods, in the retail sector, well, in the food and beverage sector, I mean. And having this issue with the social distancing can sometimes impact in terms of productivity and how quickly we can produce the goods to ensure that we can cover the demand. Traditionally, we've used a lot of the robots solution for repetitive applications, but in this day and age, look, I think it's served its purpose, definitely. But in this day and age, there is the technology has improved quite drastically, and that's been due to the fact of having better robots, but also having a lot more information being fed back to these robots to enable collaboration between robots and human. So this is, I would tend to think that if people are looking at automation, this would be one area where it would certainly assist in adapting to disruption or these kinds of situation that we're currently faced with in a much quicker manner. Yeah, so we can turn around and be able to react to the market demand a lot quicker. I know, we see it all every day. There is a lot of companies that are trying to survive, and they've to retool to provide a different product that they're not typically used to. I'll give you an example. One of the companies, I think Urban Alley, who's typically a brewery, And just the other day, I saw that they are making hand sanitizers. So surely you have to applaud these companies because they're trying to keep their staff going, and they've retooled very quickly to try and keep the customer demand and keep their people employed. So this is where automation will fit in, provide the ability to very quickly adapt to these situations, but also to, in future, adapt to the customer demand, be able to be customized, not just be replication of products that get stocked on the shelf and just stays there for months and months. So that's my view, yeah.
Yes, thank you, John Michelle. And we have another question for coming in on the technology side for Praveen. Can you elaborate more on the specific technologies worked in the work in progress tracking?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I will take this time to show what we have got. Our initial planning was to actually come and see you guys in person. Obviously, we couldn't do it now. So I will try to optimize and show you what we have got here. So hopefully you guys are able to see it. So what you have here is our demonstration platform that we wanted to bring you. So you have we have an array of different technology. So on the top you see our directional RFID reader. This is the one that's mounted overhead for shipment verification solution, which is great. It works very, very well. And then we have a few other options here. So the smallest one is our smallest RFID reader, generally used in the work in process industry. Provides a short read range, but uses the ultra-high frequency tag. But we also have the high frequency, which works very well in wet environment. So any food and beverage make customers, certainly that's a good option to look at. But we also have other options as we progress on the reading side. We have a RFQ620, again a great device for safety type applications, for asset safety and personal safety. It's widely used. And then the last one is the well-known RFQ630. It's used outdoor quite well.
It's not shared on the big screen for the video that you're sharing.
Okay. We have to send the video across separately. That's okay. I'll keep going and finish it. We have the sensor integration display over here, and then the sensor integration machine on the bottom. So we bring all this together to develop the solution. If you guys are not able to see this, we will make sure that we will record this one more time and then send it to you as a link.
Yeah, we'll probably record the demonstration as a video and then send you the file later on.
Okay. That's probably a right thing to do. But I will quickly, there's something that I can demonstrate very quickly in our cloud offering. All this physical infrastructure do tie back to our cloud offering. This is our digital services catalog, so you would use your SICK ID to get into the digital services catalog. So if you guys want to get familiarized with it, talk to your sales guys, and we'll certainly be able to provide some. So I am opening the inventory control application. As I mentioned, this particular application is around performing stock take and audit. So we have a scheduling mechanism. The scheduling mechanism allows for the operators to schedule the product that needs to be part of the inventory or the cycle count. And so in this case, we have a number of fast-moving consumer goods such as paper towel, bath towel, and so forth, with the batch number and the expected quantity. That can be sent over as a job to be scheduled on a certain date. So once this job is submitted, then it goes to the stock-taking function. In the stock-taking function, the operator can select one of the job, or they could restart an existing job and perform the stock take. These functions is what you're actually supposed to see in our HMI, but unfortunately the reflection is too bad, so you couldn't actually see it. But this is the functionality that we are offering in the sensor integration display, and it has other functions around generating reports and saving it and so forth. I will skip the demonstration for now. We will make sure that we will record the video and send it to you as a link. Gina, if you have any questions, we can go there as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Praveen. And I think there's another question for Jean-Michel that comes through. So how SICK prepares for the disruption of the global supply chain?
Yeah, thanks, Gina. Look at how we prepare. I mean, SICK have been in preparation for some years now. We've developed several business initiative which is focused towards Industry 4.0. A lot of our products that is coming in through the marketplace today is already equipped with smarter technology than just being a barcode reader or a photoelectric sensor. They've actually got app space built in, as Praveen has shown you before with some of the applications. So I definitely think that we're going in the right direction, having the technology that's providing a lot more information than what they used to, which means that it then enables us to have a more real-time visibility of what's going on within, whether it's a production line, whether it's a logistic facility, whether it's a warehouse. All this information gets passed through onto a cloud-based solution. But the next stage is certainly for those different parties within the supply chain to unlock this information so that we have a full supply chain visibility.
Thank you, Jean-Michel. I think we're well for the time, and I will just pick the last question coming through. I guess that's for maybe Praveen, that for companies wanting to implement one of the SHIPwithSICK solutions, how long will it take?
All right. So it depends upon the particular use case and the solution. Something like shipment verification can be up and running within 1 month time from start to finish, from designing the solution, testing the right technology, customizing our software offering. I would say for the inventory control solution, similar time frame, 1 month to 45 days. But something like a work in process or an asset management solution takes a lot longer because it involves in some cases trading partners, and in other cases involves multiple stations. Those solutions typically take anywhere between 4 to 6 months time. So yeah, again, depending upon the use case and the solution, the shipment verification and the inventory control doesn't take too long to implement.
Yeah, thank you, Praveen. And again, I think all the team is supporting virtual consultancy at the moment. So if you have any questions, welcome to connect with the team. And I think it looks like we've covered most of the questions. There's a couple more, but then I think we'll try to get back to you after the webinar. Jean-Michel and Praveen, is there anything else you want to cover before we have a wrap up?
Yeah, I just have one final statement around call to action. Thank you very much for participating. Both Jean-Michel and myself are reachable anytime to certainly help you. But we share the concerns. We share the concerns of the industry. We have been asked overseas by a number of different companies to assist in some of the tracking needs during the pandemic, and we would be very glad to work with you guys to see how we can assist. I think these assistance could be tracking medical assets, it could be pharmaceuticals, it could be whatever. During this crisis, we would certainly be glad to work with you guys to assist in the process. But once the situation eases out a bit more, again, we will be happy to work with you and your customers around planning some of the solutions in the next supply chain planning phase. Yeah, so those are my two key call for action from everybody who's participating in this call. Please send us your feedback and questions at sales@sick.com.au.
Thank you, Praveen. Great, thank you everyone. We appreciate you being here. Please let us know if there's any other topics or particular applications you're interested in, so we can cover in the upcoming webinars. Thanks again for joining us today, and then we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.